1 week from tonight, the Bruins open the regular season against the Florida Panthers, and in 9 days, the Bees host the Montreal Canadiens at TD Garden to open the home schedule. But before that, the preseason home finale against the Flyers, plus 2 more exhibition contests away from home on Thursday and Saturday. As we welcome you in to our TD Garden studio, it's Bruins Back to Work, presented by Cross Insurance, our way of life since 1954. Glad you could join us, Adam Pellerin, Billy Jaffe, Andrew Raycroft. You can't see the pants, but man, you guys, you do the podcast together for long enough. This is what happens.
I'm sorry, Ray.
Oh my! It's bad. It's bad. It works worse on that screen too. Like, it wasn't bad when I walked in, but now it's really bad.
Oh yeah.
Yep. It's scary.
It's
how similar.
It's preseason still.
Preseason for everybody.
That's all right. Yeah, we'll get on the same page here at some point.
But you got a regular season looking lineup.
Yeah.
Regular season looking lineup
that's
for Bruins
great
tonight, which is good to see.
Yeah, boy, can I speak for you? Preseason drags on, huh?
Yeah, possibly. We're going to talk about it, I think, but it's kind of necessity, right? It kind of is, but at this point it drags. Like, well, boy, we still got.
Yeah.
At least it's only a week. At least it's only 7 days now.
Yeah, no, I know, and you're right, Adam. This is finally a lineup that and both teams. I mean, Philly's even bringing in some more guys too, and you understand. And the Bruins, I'm guessing, after this game, maybe on Thursday, won't dress as many, and then Saturday, the last one, they probably will. But, you worry about things. You see what happens to a guy like Patrick Laine, right? I mean, it is what it is. We don't have time to get into the whole CBA or whatever thing, but...
Well, and then the opposite side of it is the 2 points on October 8th are just as valuable as April 8th. Right? And that's where this league and the parities come into, is how valuable that point is in October. And they've talked about the start they want to have. And that kind of, when you're looking at 6 days before you get on a flight for a real game, it's go time.
Yeah, take a look at the lineups coming up. Have Andy Brickley on the show as well. But the big story remains Jeremy Swayman. Contract remains unresolved, and during yesterday's season opening press conference with Bruins ownership, management, and head coach Jim Montgomery, it was addressed, and here's what Cam Neely and Don Sweeney had to say.
No, as Charlie mentioned, I would never begrudge a player asking for what he thinks his value is.
I was surprised.
I'm a little surprised that you might take the position that the Bruins haven't been aggressive or aren't willing to go max term, and some of those comments. Like, at the end of the day, that is not how we've done business and don't intend to do business. There's a marketplace for every positional player, and we're firmly amongst that grouping. So, no, not surprised, and I never begrudge a player for doing it. And you can't, when a player decides to take it to free agency when it's their right, they shouldn't begrudge us either.
So, I strongly believe that Jeremy wants to play here. I've asked him flat out, do you want to play here? And he does. I believe that they'll get a deal done. It's unfortunate it's not done today.
What his ask is in terms of dollars or term?
Well, I don't want to get into the weeds with what his ask is, but I know that I have 64 million reasons why I'd be playing right now.
And after that press conference, Louis Gross, who represents Jeremy Swayman, released a statement. Normally I don't release statements or discuss negotiations through the media. However, in this case, I feel the need to defend my client at today's press conference. $64 million was referenced. This was the first time that number was discussed in our negotiations. Prior to the press conference, no offer was made reaching that level. We are extremely disappointed. That was not fair to Jeremy. We will take a few days to discuss where we go from here. So needless to say, it was an eventful day yesterday, and today Brad Marchand, the Bruins captain, was asked if it's impacting the room.
I think the biggest thing, I wouldn't say it's hard to keep it out of the room. Even today and after, there's not a whole lot of talk about it. We all understand the situation that the team and Sway are in, and this is part of the game. It's part of the business. It's a part that nobody enjoys, and eventually a deal's going to get done and everyone's going to move on and be fine. One of the biggest things is stress and pressure of when these negotiations are going on. But, when you're dealing with a term deal, once it's signed, there's so much weight that gets lifted off, not just the player's shoulder, but the team. And, then it's just all about coming together and finding a way to win and building towards that goal. So, it's tough because we all care about Sway. We want to see him back, and but again, it's part of the business that sometimes guys go through, and every player goes through it at some point. To the extent of which it drags on is always different, but everybody goes through negotiations, and they're never fun. And it'll be over, and everyone will move on.
All right, so it's the business side of the game. Obviously, you can have situations where things work out swimmingly, and then you can have situations where they don't, and this is one of those situations that hasn't worked out swimmingly.
Well, not yet. And I think the captain is the voice of reason out of all of this. I do find it interesting in the agent statement talking about going to the media. I think we're at a point in the world where everything's in the media. There's been a lot of stuff.
There's been a lot of media so far.
Yes. Way before yesterday, there was a lot of stuff being said, and that's coming from somewhere. So we'll take that one with a grain of salt. I think what Brad said when he talked about pressure, and we talked about it last week. Okay, what's going to be the next pressure point of this negotiation? Because first one's training camp. When that starts up, okay, no need to negotiate for a few days after that because we're in no rush. This comes out yesterday. This is a pressure point. This is a reason for them to talk to each other. This is a reason for them to get at the table and say, okay, how do we sort this out? How do we get it done? Or where are we going from here? Yeah. And then the next one is the regular season in a week from now. So I think it was probably, I know it was a stressful day for everybody involved yesterday and probably a little bit this morning and having to go through messages and talk to whoever about it. But I think when we look back at when the deal gets done, we'll look at this Cam's day at the podium and say that was probably a catalyst to getting it done.
And it's important to point out that you said when this deal gets done because you believe that this deal is going to get done.
Yeah, I do. I still do. I think this is, it would have been nice to just have it done and nice and clean. But I think at the end of the day, both sides need each other on a certain level, and I think it'll be beneficial for everyone for him to play. That's at the bottom line.
I think the smartest thing for both is that it gets done. Obviously, I do think that I couldn't agree with you more, Razor. That this is going to be a moment. It might not feel that way yet, right? We might not be there yet, but it eventually. The best thing that can come out of it is it brings both sides eventually together. Mm-hmm. And maybe just talk about and admit their differences or whatever, or just say, all right, we've been there, done that with regard to things in the open. Now, let's keep it closed. Let's get it all done. Let's just get it done. That's what you hope. I love that Brad was very composed about it. It's spoken like a guy who, whether he's been through or knows guys that have been through this same thing, he understands it. And so that's how you handle that internally in that locker room. I mean, listen, I can't imagine that. I know that Don Sweeney, remember a few weeks ago when he talked about December 1st, and we brought that up. We talked about it here, talked about it on Brew. I mean, that kind of threw me off a little bit. I kept thinking this was going to get done. I do think now, I'm going to keep saying it. I think this has got to get done soon for both. I'm pretty much repeating what you said. I think it's got to in the next, I hope, week or so.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah, I think, well, what happens is it just starts after this week, then the season gets going, and then you really don't pay attention to it, and the team gets going, the league gets going, and again, this is you
have an opportunity to cool things down right now, right?
Yeah,
and that's important.
And I'm sure there's lots of cooling. If everyone let it settle for today, they're gonna. It's like everything else in life. It works right. The same way. When you have a fight with your wife or you have a fight with your friend, whatever, you need a couple days, you cool down, and then you get back to it and sort it all out.
Yeah,
and
story's
that's a
not
very
going
similar
away.
thing.
Story's not going away, but we've been talking about this after the start of training camp when Don Sweeney had his media availability. Now we're talking about it again after, Cam Neely and Don Sweeney and Charlie Jacobs in front of the media. So that's why we're talking about it, because the executives, the front office is talking about it. And so, again, not going away, still unsigned, but not going to be talked about as much. To your point, regular season starts a week from today.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I
was going to say is I didn't think you fought with your wife ever.
Yeah.
I don't know if you had experience with that.
No, I don't fight with her. She fights with me. That's it.
That's what I was going to say about mine too. Let's hope. Look, like we said, let's hope that this is the big thing that brings it all together and gets it done.
And again, just for whatever's going on, listen to what Brad Marchand just said.
Yep.
That's exactly. Listen to that minute clip. Should settle everybody down. That's how it works. That's how the guys in the room think about it. The players, the people that have gone through it on both sides. Of course, Don Sweeney's gone through it on both sides. Cam Neely's gone through it on both sides. Everybody understands what it is. They've been in hockey a long time. And most everyone has the same idea as Brad Marchand. Whenever it gets done, we go through it and then move on.
All right. Well, believe it or not, we do have other things to talk about.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we are going to do that. And when we come back, we made a big move in the offseason. I love this shot of Judd, that we've shown for a few of the preseason pregame shows, just up in the press box.
It should be every pregame show, this picture of Judd.
I think we might have to do that.
We have more questions?
We do. We'll play a game of 22 questions